Okay, so this is our second podcast for the Career and Technical Education Department, and we're calling it CTE, Know Before You Go, because so many people don't know what CTE is. So it's Career and Technical Education. It is a graduation requirement to take a high school credit in a CTE course. And our CTE courses are in 6 different career fields where our I guess I could say our programs of study encompass 6 different career fields. And today we're going to talk about agriculture and natural resources, that pathway. And I'm joined here with Tori Hebert from Vancouver High School. Tori, tell us a little bit about your role at Vancouver High School.
Fort Vancouver High School.
Fort Vancouver High School.
Okay. So at Fort Vancouver High School, currently I'm the horticulture science teacher and then the advanced horticulture science teacher. And so I teach 3 sections of horticulture science and 1 of advanced horticulture.
And being a CTE teacher, how did you get into teaching?
So I came through the industry pathway, which just means that I don't have an agriculture educator degree like from WSU Pullman. But my degree is in elementary education, actually. And then I taught elementary ed for a while. And then when I stayed home with my kiddos and I kind of, they were getting older and stuff like that, I started really wanting to get into my passion, which was plants and gardening and horticulture. And so I started in several different areas. I worked for Clark County Environmental Services for a while. I worked for Shorty's Garden Center. I had my own business called Urban Farm School, which was like a garden education and consultation business. And then through that, I found out that you could do the industry pathway and get a teaching certificate for high school in career and technical ed. And when I found that out, I was like, I thought I'd hit the jackpot because I knew I never wanted to go back to elementary ed. But the fact that I could teach high school students and teach what my passion was, what really my whole life revolved around, I was like, wow, this is awesome. So it's been really cool.
That's a really cool element of career and tech ed is that our teachers come from industry and they have a background in what they're teaching. Usually I think it's 10,000 hours required in the background.
6,000 paid. And then I think there's like a renewal requirement as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And Heather Martin is also here from Columbia River High School. Heather, do you want to tell us about what you do at Columbia River?
Yeah, I'm a horticulture teacher and advanced horticulture teacher. I have 1 advanced class and the rest of them are just the standard horticulture.
And what's a standard horticulture class look like?
Well, we have our students, we have a greenhouse, and we have our students work in the greenhouse, but we also teach them mostly biology concepts. I'd say there's some earth science and physical science and chemistry definitely with it, but the focus, I think, is on the biological sciences too.
So when I think about a horticulture class and a high school student, how do they know that they're going to be interested in horticulture? What kind of student makes a good horticulture student?
That's a good question. I think what I always tell kids is like, if you like to be outside, if you like hands-on, a lot of our kids might struggle with like a regular science ed class and they need something that's a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more interactive. And so that seems to work really well for them. What else?
Just being able to move and then produce something that you're proud of,
Right.
I think is, my kids always have something to show, I grew this and they can move around and learn their science actively.
I thought I had a black thumb until I moved here because I'm originally from Fresno, and then when I came to Vancouver, it seems like it's so easy to grow things.
Everything is, exactly.
Especially this time of the year, it's beautiful with the tulips and everything popping, lots of color. So we were talking about how many things that horticulture does and the different activities at the high schools that people don't even know about. What were you doing before you got here, Tori?
Oh, well, I can
today.
Today. Oh, God. Yeah, I was like, I got to answer that question already. Yes, so today we got a grant to install what we're calling a tranquility garden. So we have kind of this funny little pocket garden at our school that's, walled off on 3 sides, and it has like a rolling gate. And it's kind of sat, in various derelict forms, I think, since its heyday in 1979 when it was installed. And so anyways, have a really supportive principal right now, Jody Videlka, who helped us we got a grant together through Vancouver Foundation. And so we've been putting in, hardscapes. We worked with Jane Tessner Kleiner, who's like a local designer, to design it. She used some of my kids' ideas. And yeah, it's been such a really neat thing, but it's been like this is the second year phase, and we probably will even have like a third year phase because we have another grant for like art installation. So today I'm hiding my hands because they're dirty and gross, but we had a lot of fun. We've been working in the garden. So.
And how about the greenhouse management, Heather? What does that entail?
Well, first you need students that can do it, and so I have students who will spend their whole time at high school with me, and so they're really in charge of making sure everything's organized, making sure everything's growing properly, looking for bugs. So I have a core team. They're my FFA kids, and they, one of my classes, for example, I have 5 kids who are on their own special projects, and so they'll just basically do anything that has to do with organization and planting. And so they're the ones I rely on to make sure things are being done right. And then my first year horticulture students are doing a lot of the growing and basic, pot washing and things that don't take as many skills. So pretty much everything is done by my students. I'm just the manager of them for the greenhouse.
Are you both Future Farmers of America FFA advisors?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I think FFA's been around. I think my dad was in FFA. It's been around
Probably,
a long time,
yeah.
but it's a lot different than maybe people's perception is. Can you tell us a little bit about FFA?
Yeah. I think it's really different in our area because we're so urban and peri-urban. If you went to east side of Washington or up north in Washington, they're still doing FFA probably like it looked like in your dad's day. The kids get to have like animals and stuff like that. But I think we've really had to like kind of take it almost a different direction to work for our kids who live in, more urban settings and stuff like that. But I mean, it's a great thing. It teaches a lot of great leadership skills and stuff. So in my FFA, hers is different, and she can tell you about hers. But in mine, we do landscape contests. So the kids learn plant ID, things like they'll have like a product that comes from like a garden center, and they have to like read the label and say how they would use it and kind of try to sell it to a customer. They do landscape design work where they like figure out, how many plants are in this design and how much pavers would you need, and even like small engine stuff, like how to run a chainsaw and stuff. So It's really comprehensive, but mostly it just gets them up in front of people speaking. They have to wear a professional dress, the FFA jacket. So it just teaches them a lot of leadership skills, but she does some other really cool stuff, I think, the leadership or job skills.
Yeah, so our students for FFA, we really focus on the business and community service. And so my students are learning how to sell, and they run all of our sales. And then anytime we have like an event at the school, we set up a table. And so the one competition that they're involved in, agricultural issues right now, they're going to go to state in Pullman, and we're raising money for that with the plant sale. And so they presented down at the Water Resources Center during spring break to qualify for this contest. So just getting the kids out, working with the community. And Tori and we work with the food bank and
Watershed Alliance.
Yeah, the stream
urban
team.
Forestry, a whole
planting
bunch of different
trees.
Community
We'll be
groups.
going out planting trees on Saturday.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the plant sale because my perennials just popped up from 2 years ago, and they look beautiful. My yard looks beautiful when I come back from the Vancouver Public School plant sale that the high schools have. And tell us a little bit. Let me see. Rivers is April 26th through the 27th, 9 a.m. to 3 on the 26th, 9 to 5 on the 27th, and 5 to 3 on the 2nd. And then let me see. Forts is May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. What can I get at the plant sale?
Oh my goodness. You want to go first? Since yours is
Well,
first.
Okay. Yeah. So our staff sale is on the 26th on that Friday, and then it's open to the public on Saturday, the 27th. So we have lots of geraniums. That's one of the things my kids like to grow. We have basically annuals and perennials, and then lots of vegetables. Our vegetables are either organic or non-GMO. We don't use any sprays. So the students learn how to take care of the plants without using chemicals. And then we have some native plants. So we're full. I mean,
And
check it out.
And the prices are phenomenal. I mean, you won't find a better deal anywhere in town.
Right. Yeah. I don't think, I think at most of the sales, the price ranges is from, I know at Bay they sell some things for 50 cents. My lowest price is $1. Typically my highest price is $10, so yeah, it's such a great way to come stock up. So yeah, I have hanging baskets. I have all of your, typical annual bedding type plants, perennials, and then I have a big selection of native plants this year, and over 1,200 tomatoes, heirloom and hybrid tomatoes.
Wow. And the basil
That's
that
my
I
specialty.
so the tomatoes,
Yeah,
lots
my
of
tomatoes,
pasta.
Yeah. Mhm, yeah.
Good. And so back to FFA. If I'm a student at Fort and I want to get involved in FFA, what does that entail?
So basically, right at the beginning of the year, we kind of set up a time. We put some posters around the school saying when the first meetings are, and then we try to round up people. And I typically have some returning students, who can kind of spread the news too, but start coming to meetings, and, hang out with us, find out what it's all about, and, see if it's up your alley. And we'll do, like a couple mock contests. Hudson's Bay usually sponsors the first contest of the year, so kids can go. It's close. They can kind of find out what a contest is like and see if they're interested in being involved in it.
And I think maybe on the YouTube channel we'll have some pictures from the greenhouses and from Hudson's Bay. They do floral arrangements as well over there, and I know they sent a team to nationals for FFA in the beginning of this year, actually.
Yes. Yep.
So aside from what you do after school, there's really some great opportunities to travel with FFA and get out there.
Absolutely, yeah. I think for students it's a great. What my kids love the most is they love going. They love going to other places in the state and checking other places out. So that's fun for them.
Is the process the same for River, Heather?
Yeah, we get started right away with open house. So my students will volunteer to help out at open house and show the parents what we do in the program. They work out in the greenhouse when we tour and set up a table there. And so it's, immediately getting to work and trying to interact with people. And then we always go out to do the harvesting for the food bank in October.
Yeah.
So it's
so
busy from the start for the kids and for us.
So as soon as the plant sale's over, at least a few of us, we all plant starts for the food bank. I think I've started 3,000 squash plants one year. You're probably similar. And then they come pick them up. They plant them in a field. And in the fall, Heather and I go back with all of our students and we harvest the stuff that came from those plants. So it's another really cool thing that we do.
Wow, it's really full circle.
Yeah.
What a great way for students to see the fruit of their labor.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Are there any costs associated with FFA for students?
There are. So they have to have an ASB card. And then there is a slight fee from FFA.
And
I can't remember what it is.
But it's pretty minimal.
It's pretty minimal, yeah.
And
there's ways to work around. We can find other scholarships and stuff for them. So.
And are the meetings after school like one day a week?
Yep. Yeah. Typically, 2:15 right after school gets out.
Some community service as well, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
And can you join at any time of the year, or does it have to be in the beginning of the year?
Anytime. Yeah.
Anytime. Yeah, the one little piece with FFA is that you have to be enrolled in an agriculture class in order to be an active FFA member. Mm-hmm. And so what we do, because we don't want to exclude anyone, we say, you can come and do all the school events with us, but anytime we travel, then you have to stay, which is, unfortunate. But yeah.
And I kind of get around that by saying, I have a hort club and then an FFA. So, the kids that aren't in an ag class, they're not in my class, but I want to work in the garden, then they're in hort club.
Okay.
And they can still hang out and do the fun stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about different careers in horticulture, and maybe even local careers. At CTE, we try and get our employers to sit on advisory committees where they work with the teachers and they attend 2 meetings a year to talk about what's happening in the current industry. We're always looking for employer partners. But what type of employers are out there for kids interested in horticulture or career pathways?
I'm thinking of our advisory board. We just had Dean DeSantis from DeSantis Landscaping join our advisory board, and he owns a huge landscaping company. So I think there's, those types of situations. There's lots of entry-level landscaping stuff. There's the local gardens, nursery centers. I know I have students every year who apply at local garden centers and nursery. What I like about horticulture is that it's something that kids could work their way up into. Yes, they can go get a degree. We've got Clackamas Community College that offers a lot of really great, degrees in urban ag and arboriculture and, some other stuff. So they could do that, but they could also, start an entry-level position and kind of work their way up into something else. But I had a student who went to WSU Pullman for a dual degree in landscape and greenhouse management and I think orchard management. So, yeah.
Very nice.
So, yeah, and I see that it's kind of a gateway. Career and technical education in general is because we expose our students to their skills and interests, and they really do become leaders. So the students that come back and talk to me, a lot of them will be in construction. They like to move, but they earn their science credits with us and worked on work ethic. But like the arborist position is definitely something where they need in the area. Forest fighting so horticulture would be a gateway to students that are interested in being active. So we'll have kids go to the fire program,
or forestry.
Yeah, and so and then students that end up going to university usually study environmental biology. Our program really focuses on sustainability and the use of native plants. So that's a great opportunity.
And sustainable growing practices. We don't use chemicals. We're trying to,
And then AmeriCorps volunteers. So a lot of the stream team and the food bank hire AmeriCorps. And so they come and work with our students. And so that would be another pathway that they could get into to get more specific in the agriculture field.
Yeah.
And, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I do think that not a lot of kids these days want to be farmers, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But I think that there's just there's a level of like work ethic that you learn in our classes. You know what I'm saying, that I think is like a soft job skill that carries them super far. Just to be able. So even if they're not necessarily interested in going into, horticulture or landscape management or stuff like that, the things that they learn in our class are just. They're so valuable, because it really teaches them to just kind of have stick-to-itiveness and have a really good work ethic.
Absolutely. And I know when I went to the plant sale last year, there were some great salesmen out there.
Oh my
sales
God,
ladies.
that's their favorite. Kids love the plant sale.
I
they
took
love
away
working it.
wagons of stuff. I felt selfish, but there was so much. I was like, I'm doing
awesome.
good. And all the money, all the proceeds from the plant sale go back to the school, right?
They go back
programs.
to FFA and the horticulture programs. Yep, all of it.
And so right now I think we're in the middle of forecasting where students are selecting their classes for next year already, 2019-20, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So if I'm a student, do I have to have other classes? Heather, you'd mentioned a science requirement that Hort fills. Can you talk about that a little? So as a parent, I know.
Yeah, so horticulture at Columbia River and at Fort is open to all students. It is a science credit. And then the advanced horticulture is also a science credit. One of the things at our school that they like students to do is take biology in 10th grade. So there's some uniform education that our students are getting. But they have advanced horticulture is always open as an elective. So my classes have all grade levels, all ability levels in them. And it's beautiful. It works really well.
Yeah, so it's like, our class is really flexible. It can count for an elective, for a CTE credit, or for your biology science credit.
Wow.
And it literally will transcript as that. They can have it transcripted as that. So, and then we also articulate, with Clackamas Community College. So our kids are earning 2 college credits for taking our basic horticulture class and then our advanced horticulture classes. Kind of varies amongst the different high schools, but we all offer some sort of college credit for our classes as well.
And that's totally free, right? So that means if I end up going to Clackamas, that's on my transcript.
Free and reduced is totally free, and then I think everybody else pays $10 a credit or something ridiculously cheap like that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So before we go, we were going to talk about a little bit more about the plant sale. And do you guys have any favorite gardening sites to go to? Like once I get these plants, sometimes I get afraid that I'm not taking care of them properly. What's a good resource for us gardeners or wannabe gardeners out there?
Good question.
So, well, I would say one of my former students has a great website. I just don't remember what it's called, though. But I use the Portland Nursery site. So Portland Nursery is one of our partners, and we get many of our things at River through them. And so on their site, they have brochures, PDF files that you can just load right into your phone. They have growing calendars, how to grow something very specific that's rare, tons and tons of brochures, and they actually work. I've tried tried their advice, and it works.
Yeah, and I've actually give out some of their brochures in my class because they're so awesome. And then, you know, our two local bigger nurseries here, Shorty's and Yard and Garden Land in Hazeldale, and then Shorty's is on East Mill Plain. You know, they're so helpful. I mean, all you have to do is just call, talk to somebody at the info desk, you know, really, and they both partner with us on different things as well. So, you know, just, I say just, you know, find a gardener and grab them and say, what am I supposed to do with this?
I brought stuff in. Yeah, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I love that. I think there's an app on your phone now where you can take a picture of plants and it'll identify
There's so
them.
many cool apps, yeah.
A lot of different resources out there. I want to thank Yard and Garden because we actually had a student out there interning last year from iTech, and just one of those kids loves to be outdoors. He didn't know, not sure what he wants to do, but he knows he wants to be outdoors, and that turned into a paid position for him.
They also donated a whole bunch of plants to the Tranquility Garden that I've been working on, so really a good partner.
Oh, nice. I can't wait to see the Tranquility Garden, and I hope we can get some pictures up.
Definitely.
Well, we definitely want to promote the plant sale, and you can go to our website at our Facebook page, which is vps.cte, and if you click the events page, it'll list all the different plant sale dates at the different high schools. So every Hudson's Bay, Columbia River, Fort Vancouver, and Flex Academy all have greenhouses and all have amazing plant sales the last week of April and in May. So please go check those out and support our students, finding out what they're interested in and benefiting from everything that they're learning from Heather and Tori. So thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
It was a lot of fun, and let's go horticulture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.